listen to this, or if you have time tonight, or just daytime, whenever, you've got a little time to listen to this. It's going to take a while. So it's the Great Anticipations video dating service sequel to the Softcore Pimp, to the Hardcore Pimp, which appeared in the Bells of Beechwood, and before the Pimp at J, which was the other Softcore Pimp installment short story, also appearing in my paperback back then. So, ... I'm quoting right in the middle. To Pete Coachella, I said, quote, "And can I come pick up the mastered tapes tomorrow night, drive out to Rialto, California to see you, Brock, and then back to Malibu to Bill's sprawling mansion?" Bill Pachesnik interposed, "I don't want you to trouble yourself delivering the tapes to me. Pete's girly photos will be quite sufficient alone." "Fine then. I expect to arrive in Rialto around 8 p.m. Brock Hardesty, you can lay some crystal meth on me at that time. Then I'll drive out to Redlands on my own, where they have a great IHOP restaurant open 24 hours. Once there, and I've done this before, I'll just sprinkle some of the crystal meth in my coffee, a good strong dose of it, then peruse a science fiction novel I've been reading and rereading, Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Singer novel, and settle in for the night, as I don't like driving under the influence." "So you're a recreational drug user?" sought Brock Hardesty, appearing decidedly droll. "You think?" I deadpanned. "I do not pretend to advocate drug use, but let me tell you, I was extremely careful about taking crystal meth with my coffee, or, if in the presence of another user, smoking it in what's called a pookie pipe." Later that evening, I got a call from my latest acquisition of an escort, Anita Shapiro, whose double mastectomy did not deter my longing for her. What's more, she knew about my crystal meth habit and wanted to know more. And by the way, anyone who got intimate with this goddess would never know she'd been cut open by doctors, because she always wore a snug sports bra. "First of all, Anita," I began, cradling the phone to my ear, "I do not advocate shooting up crystal, which is commonly known as dope, shit, ice, clear, and other such names, because it can easily induce a heart attack. Secondly, my friend Mark Gosberg, a roommate of mine in the dementia nursing home called Mayflower in El Monte, he had shot up crystal that was laced with rat poison every day for 6 weeks and suffered a heart attack, became diabetic, had liver problems, and had to use a feeding tube stuck in his abdomen, which he unceremoniously pulled out. To make matters worse, Mark had a black tar heroin habit going back a period of many years, and his favorite rap heroin song, done by some sort of arcane band, was called Triple B. It had the lyric, "I'd rather have a Triple B than a 36 double D." Breast size, that is. And it goes on and on. It's a great song. So, if I'm with a friend smoking meth from a cookie pipe, I only take 3 or 4 hits, so I don't mind. And then I find myself speeding for the next 6 to 8 hours. I'm a lightweight that way, fortunately. If I'm by myself at a IHOP restaurant, for example, I'll put a strong dose in my coffee, crack open Dragon Singer, and find myself in a real winter wonderland. The first time I tried crystal meth, I was in Redlands, California, on my way to IHOP for dinner, when under a freeway on-ramp, I spotted a homeless man wearing a bladder bag and smoking crystal meth from a pookie pipe because he had contracted Hep C from shooting up. I was carrying a quarter kilo of chronic in my backpack at the time and stopped to chat with him. His name was Larry Kensington. He told me that crystal meth was ruining his precarious health, and could he trade some of his crystal for some of my quarter key of chronic. We made the trade, at which point Larry advised me, "I'm not telling you to try it yourself, Roger, character in this story, but my alter ego. But rather, you might want to sell some at $20 a jacket or glassine envelope. So, Anita, I continued to pace. I shook hands with the man, gave him my overcoat because it was cold out, and strolled back down the road to IHOP. I ordered a coffee, sprinkled in half the envelope of crystal meth, and down the hatch it went. I was reading Philip K. Dick's Scanner Darkly novel at the time, so I cracked it open to chapter 3, and in a half stupor, half dream state, read my book and kept out of trouble. Dick, the author, was a meth addict or speed freak and subsequently contracted pancreatic cancer at age 47, going on to die at age 52, unfortunately, having written, I believe, 50 novels and hundreds of great short stories. Philip K. Dick. Anyway, I was feeling sky high and full of myself for the next 6 or 7 hours at IHOP and taking several bathroom breaks, always sitting down on the toilet to pee, at which times I studied the senseless and disgusting graffiti adorning John, one such being the gross diagram of a penis and balls in black felt pen over the caption, "Suck a dick." I want you to bring your meth and your pookie pipe over to my place tomorrow. I'm ready to smoke you out, boasted Anita Shapiro, who was verily a seasoned tweaker. Super, I said, but I proceeded to tell Anita Shapiro I would soon give up the habit, and what's more, I didn't need it every day. Ms. Shapiro said she lived in a semi-spherical geodesic dome of a tent in the backyard of an abandoned home in Montclair, California, not far from Target, and went on to give me precise directions, or direcciones, that's the address, on how to get there. Okay, turn the page. At 6 o'clock that evening, I arrived at Pete Coachella's Redondo Beach apartment on Grant Avenue in order to pick up the mastered erotic videotapes of my ladies, the phone room girls, Great Anticipation's video dating service, prancing around in skimpy diaphanous lingerie, pen noirs, and string bikinis. I didn't have time to view the tapes as I was due over at Brock Hardesty's Rialto Digs around 8. Pete said, "I did a bang-up job choreographing the bimbos, Roger, so don't worry your little head. Scallywag. Boomba boomba, baby, 2 for 2. He thrust a beer bottle high in the air for drunken emphasis. I was only 10 minutes late when I reached Brock Hardesty's 865 North Pampas Avenue ranch-style home in Rialto, just a few miles west of Upland, California. Brock received me with his usual ebullience. "Roger, I'm glad you made it. I'm single, 37 years old, and a warm and loving human being." That's what I say on my Great Anticipations video dating service, Love Library Videotape, that I hope will snag me a date one of these days. But for now, I have to settle for the lifetime loser Roger Polstein and his exotic videos, so-called. Come on in, big feller. In Brock Hardesty's cozy, well-appointed living room, a pall of marijuana smoke pervaded. We mellowed out with a beer and some Turkish brown hashish. On the stereo, Jimi Hendrix's smash hits Best Of album was playing. Brock opened the middle drawer of his towering file cabinet, occupying one corner of the sala, in Spanish, and pulled out a box filled with tiny glassine envelopes, or so-called jackets, of crystal meth, or what a friend of mine calls clear. Dope, clear, ice. So many names. This stuff will get you good and fucked up. Now I'm counting out 20 jackets, said Brock Hardesty, for you at 2 servings per. That should last me 2 months, I estimated, clapping him on the shoulder in a friendly manner. "Do you want to take a look at the videos with me?" posed Brock Hardesty. "I suppose." On the first of 3 videos, Anita Shapiro, whom I was to get high with around midnight, could be seen dancing enticingly, gyrating, as if in love with Pete Coachella's camera. She was wearing a tight sports bra and soft cotton bikini briefs of powder blue that made me twitch involuntarily. "What a fox," remarked Brock Hardesty. "I hope Anita will find that I'm a warm and loving 37-year-old whose favorite hobby is horseback riding." At 10 to 12, I found the abandoned house where Anita Shapiro was squatting in her tent in the backyard. I announced myself and was invited by her inside. She explained to me that her double mastectomy ran up such medical bills that she couldn't pay rent on her Claremont apartment and had to vacate, that she'd applied for a short-term disability, but the red tape and bureaucracy was interdicting that claim. And finally, she was grateful to me for hiring her as a female telemarketer in the phone room in the Great Anticipations office in the Supercenter at Beechwood on 500 Sepulveda Boulevard, just north of the Mobil station, where Sammy worked. Also, Anita had a military background and knew how to handle a gun. Parenthetically. As you can see, said my hostess, I'm living in squalor here, but I love Montclair. Its wonderful indoor mall and easy access to the Metrolink trains, which bring me to Beechwood when I report to work each day. Let's break out the crystal meth, Roger. I'm an addict, but being homeless, living in a tent, and practically starving to death makes my meth habit understandable. Meth is my medicine, while pot is my party drug. I never touch cocaine or crack. I said, you should have told me you needed the meth. I would have come here sooner. Fact of the matter is, I've got 20 mini envelopes of it, and I intend to give you approximately half my head stash. Thanks so much, love, cooed Anita Shapiro, leaning over to hug me. Let me cut your fingernails, okay? I used to work in a nail salon, but they don't want me back because I was huffing the nail polish remover. Now, Roger, if we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, you must sit still for the manicure I'm giving you. Who said anything about boyfriend and girlfriend, I wanted to know. I love you. Homeless people fall in love right away, but never have sex. Our sex instead is smoking pookie pipes full of meth together all night. So pass the pipe to me, hoser. I asked Anita Shapiro if she had a radio. She did, and turned it on. Welcome to New York by Ryan Adams was playing. Great song. I guessed that getting high in Redlands could wait, and I held the pipe while Anita flicked on a Bic lighter to warm the underside of the pookie pipe caressingly. Okay, you can inhale now, advised Anita after about 90 seconds. We spent a glorious night together that would have been mundane were it not for the much derided illegal drug. Tuesday, 8 a.m., Roger Polstein's journal entries. Monday night after work, my philosophy buddy, Gilbert Sherry from Nantucket, Massachusetts, and Pete Coachella's apartment manager of poor hygiene, Phil Mulligan, were waiting for me on the front steps of my Beverly Hills bachelor pad in order to party. Gilbert Sherry had brought William Dean Howells's The Rise of Silas Lapham novel for me to read, and once comfortable in my living room with the fireplace going, I told Gilbert what I thought of Howells's economy of pain principle, a philosophical principle. I leveled with both men that I was not only a habitual pot smoker, but a recreational pill head and crystal meth speed freak. Like speed freak up every night of the week. From there, I owned that in partaking of safe amounts of crystal meth and not sharing it with Gil and Phil, I was practicing the economy of pain theory in as much as A, I wasn't injuring third parties, and B, I wasn't doing anyone any favors or being a philanthropist at all. So while I was high on speed and Gil and Phil were doing loads and chronic marijuana, the evening promised to be a resounding success. We listened to Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions album, especially the Too High track, and Steely Dan's The Royal Scam album on my brand new United Audio dual 1218 turntable with its Shure M91E stylus cartridge combo and dampened cueing lever for soft touchdown of needle onto vinyl. After listening to Steely Dan, I asked the two gentlemen, what would you two guys like to do tonight? Gilbert Sherry was first to speak. I don't know. What do you want to do, Phil? Phil Mulligan flicked the bottle cap from his beer across the room prior to answering. Gil, gee, I don't know either. What do you guys want to do? I postulated, we might as well smoke some more dope and listen to a little Pink Floyd. How about the Animals, huh? And Wish You Were Here. Journal entry continued. Earlier that day, at work on Monday, our top salesman, Victor Bathhouse, was drinking Boilermakers at Chumley's bar and wouldn't be able to give Doug a tour of our Supercenter's Love Library. Doug being the man who'd been harassed telephonically by some of the gals that worked for me in the phone room Doug was, making good on his promise to tour the center. As part of the tour, which I had to conduct because Victor was at the bar, I sequestered Doug in a private consultation room, telling him I'd be right back with some photo albums containing pictures of our adorable female members. At length, Doug professed, "I don't like any of these bitches," as he perused one of the photo albums I proffered. "How about these bitches?" I hazarded, passing to him another photo album containing not only more female members, but the 6 girls who worked the phones and were amenable to having their pictures grace the otherwise banal photo album. "I don't like these bitches either," Doug concluded. I was exasperated with his dubious recalcitrance and salty tongue. "What kind of bitches do you like?" I queried, exasperated. Doug extended his arms to embrace me. "I like men bitches, and I really dig your style, Roger. So much so that I want to give you a big, wet French kiss." He lunged at me. Just then, Regional Director pro tempore, Mr. Gomez, who had been video monitoring my consultation room all the while, barged in and said, "We do not accept homosexuals at Great Anticipation's video dating service, so please let go of my sales rep." "You're discriminating against gays, aren't you?" Doug sought to find out, raising one eyebrow. "You're damn right," Gomez barked. "Now get the fuck out of my supercenter, chump. We don't cater to your kind." And as a footnote, at Partners United, where I worked after being a sales rep at Connections for Singles and then Intelligent Resources at Partners United in 1998 or 1999, we catered not only to gays, straights, but anybody looking to hook up with a eligible adult single over 18. End footnote. The next night after work, I had to attend a singles dance given jointly by DateQuest and Great Anticipations and taking place at Spongy's Discotheque in LA's Mid-Wilshire district. On entering, I had to use the men's room where, at the sink, Victor Bathhouse and Mr. Gomez were snorting gagger lines of cocaine. "Like to join us in a course of White Christmas?" entreated Victor, wiping several granules of yayo from his nose. No, but I'd like to thank you, Mr. Gomez, for bailing me out of that jam I was in yesterday. I owe you big time. Think I'll light me up a J if you all don't mind." I sauntered out of the men's rooms moments later and approached the bar where my phone room ladies were all dressed up and looking good. "Drinks aren't on the house tonight, they're on me," I boomed exuberantly. Mindy Travers wanted to know how my sales pitch worked on Doug yesterday. "Not too good," I said, of the major homo. Drew Birdswell, my Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Brigham Young University, said, "We got to talking tonight, Roger, and we'd like to practice our new erotic performance piece on you, if you don't mind." "Yeah," chimed in Alice Fulton and Shell Tomlinson. The others nodded in agreement. "Well, I faltered, I think I've had enough entertainment for the time being, especially considering yesterday." "Well, how about doing the performance piece for me?" said Pete Coachella, who had just arrived on the scene with an SLR Hanimex camera hanging from a strap around his neck and snapping all sorts of photographs afterwards of my lovely ladies. "Gross," said Shell Tomlinson. The others followed suit with likewise imprecations of a disparaging nature based on Coachella's arch peccadillos. As Casey and the Sunshine Band's "I'm Your Boogeyman" was concluding, a sultry blonde in a pink evening gown by Givenchy with a brocaded bodice and puffy sleeves called to me, "Would you care to dance?" We slow danced to George Michael's bossa nova, "Jesus to a Child," off the older album, during which time Mildred Freemanson confided that, like Anita Shapiro, she was a double mastectomy cancer survivor, and would I like to take her to Griffith Park Observatory some Sunday? And I gave her my phone number. Momentarily, Anita Shapiro, wearing a sleeveless beaded top and tight green capri slacks that I'll never forget, tapped Mildred Spraminson on the shoulder. "I'd like to cut in," she informed my partner, then encircled my neck with her tender arms. "Hello, dear. Can I sleep over at your place tonight after the party's over?" "Oh, I suppose, but no hoochie coo," I said. "We'll just self-medicate. Do you still have those 10 jackets of meth I gave you?" "Nope, they're all gone. I'm afraid I'm a tweaker." "Okay, I'll share the wealth with you." Part 4. Slinging speed with Anita. Anita Shapiro needed more crystal meth, and since I, Roger Polstein, would do anything for my girls, my phone room girls, I placed a call to Brock Hardesty, who was more savvy about drugs and drug dealing than I, a mere piker, and not even a very good pimp. Softcore variety, of course. "Brock," I corralled him over the phone, "how did you get that raft of crystal meth glassine jackets that you have over there in your Rialto digs?" Mansion, rather. "I can't say unless we're talking man-to-man, in person, up close and personal, capiche? Can I come over to your pad after work?" "Yeah, man. Yeah, I can be there or be square." "Okay." "I'll be expecting you," said Brock, about to hang up. Signing off. Next, I moseyed into the Great Anticipation's phone room and told Anita Shapiro that I had a lead on getting some more crystal meth for the both of us in the personage of one Brock Hardesty, pot dealer extraordinaire and former heroin addict who had a sizable stash of dope in his filing cabinet, if I remember correctly. Said Anita Shapiro Sawtogos, "I have a sophisticated dope scale in my tabs in Montclair. Why don't you catch me there tonight after midnight, as I have a dinner date with Pete Coachella, that foxy photog who's hot to trot." "Right on," I casually intoned, shaking hands with her. Being the gentleman that I am, was. Even though I'd had a long-standing crush on my #1 escort, Alice Bolton, who could bend one's will to her own with a come-hither look, Anita Shapiro was more to my liking because she told me she loved me, and I just knew getting high with her using my expensive boogie pipe would always be righteous. And by the way, the bowl of that pipe was silver, some sort of silver alloy lined. We'd done it once or twice, and I'd stayed with her all night long. And by the way, I was then reminded of Morning Final by Blue Oyster Cult, and the lyric said he was a junkie who punctuated his walk with a gun. After work, I offered to drive Anita Shapiro to her tent home in Montclair because it was on my way to Rialto, where Brock Hardesty lived and was waiting for me. Pete Coachella was to drop by Anita's domicile around 10. In the car, she said, "I used to be a crystal meth dealer, which is why I still have my Bausch and Lomb trifulcrum dope scale. So if you can get me a connect somewheres, then I could sling speed from the parking lot outside the Montclair Plaza Mall, buy some, smoke some, sell some. Look at me, Roger. I'm all sweating and junk sick from smoking crack with Victor Bathhouse earlier today. He's a great salesman. Geez, like I told you, I don't do crack. It's too dangerous. My brother's a triple felon for it." "Me neither," said Anita dubiously. "Not from now on." After I dropped Anita Shapiro off at her domicile, I headed straight for 865 North Pampas Avenue in Rialto, California, between Baseline and Foothill Boulevards, got out of my car, a boxy 1984 Honda Accord, and rang the bell at Brock Hardesty's front door. "Come on in," said Brock Hardesty, having looked through the peephole and opened the door, leading me through the high-ceilinged foyer, then into his living room, where we comported ourselves on its capacious velour sectional. "My name is Brock Hardesty, 37 years old, and I'm into Quaaludes, pot, and crystal meth, commonly known as dope or shit." He chuckled within himself soundlessly. "Roger, that's what my new video says that is ensconced in your love library, because I had Pete reshoot it this morning, and I'm expecting a veritable flurry of responses from like-minded women." Well, good luck with that. We shared a doobie of hog weed that had been harvested up in Humboldt County, California, north of the Bay Area. "Let me tell you a little secret," began Brock Hardesty anew, exhaling a noxious cloud of dense marijuana smoke, then passing the doobie to me. "By the way, the Doobie Brothers rock band, all the songs I've ever heard by them, never heard one song about marijuana. drugs? It's, uh, it's paradoxical. I have a source down south, said Brock Hardesty. He's a chemistry teacher at San Diego State University, where I was once a math major. He sells good product, and you can get it for $300 an ounce if you buy 100 ounces. He wrote down Ted's digits on a post-it note. Here, the address is there too, and since he's a teacher, Ted is always home with his 16-year-old daughter on the weekends at his house on Campanile Drive, which is his base of operations. He owns a meth lab in San Bernardino, California, that he sustains and does the cook himself on a bi-weekly basis. TMI, I said. Too much information. Anita wants to go into business selling spam in the parking lot at the mall, I said, which I think is a tad dangerous. So tell me, how would you proceed? Let me tell you some Steely Dan. Let me put on some Steely Dan on the stereo, if you can dig it. Then I'll go into unnecessary detail. Ha ha. Me and my two biker girls rented 2 rooms at the Charter Arms Motel just off Route 66 in Glendora. I had a room on the 2nd floor where I would measure the crystal's weight and collect the dough, and the biker chicks had a room below me on the 1st floor where customers would come and hand over the cash for whatever amount they wanted. Then one of the girls would come upstairs with the money, and I'd measure out their portions to an exact T. I was driving a big old Cadillac Eldorado at the time and decided to sleep in the car as I was to re-up in San Diego next morning, first thing. One of the biker chicks was pissed at her homeboy because he hadn't been spending quality time with her. So I let him use my 2nd-story motel room to reunite, and the one remaining biker chick took care of their 2 kids downstairs. Well, come to pass, we were out of product except for my own personal head stash of China White that I was holding onto and would never sell. So there I am, dozing in the car when some biker dudes accosted me looking for meth. I told them I didn't have any. I was dry. I recognized the bikers as a gang who kept their product in an abandoned airplane hangar in Pomona, California, and who literally ruled the entire operations from Diamond Bar to San Dimas. They were nobody to fuck with. I cagily brandished my sawed-off shotgun, threw down on them, so to speak, and they dispersed. But one guy, who I think was the sergeant of arms, hung back and went to the door of my biker chick's room. He disappeared inside, and I was scared for the kids. That's when I decided to get out of the crystal meth business. It was just too risky. Roger Paulstein's journal entries continue. Saturday night, Anita Shapiro and I drove to San Diego and visited Ted and his daughter Phoebe, who was a precocious 16-year-old, at their Campanile Drive to mezzanine. We put up the 30 grand in cash for our car trunk full of crystal meth that could be stepped on with vitamin B12 to double our income. Just like that, Anita Shapiro and I were in business, but I got a little jealous because she told me in the car on the way home that she had let Pete Coachella neck with her and fondled her for 20 bucks. I kept my mouth shut, however, because my crystal meth investment of 30 grand dwarfed her paltry sex life. She and I were in business, and we weren't doing it for our health. Suddenly, we picked up an old ice cream hand truck to cart our drugs around in and cooled it to an optimal temperature of 44 degrees Fahrenheit. On both sides of the refrigerated hand truck, I had neatly stacked spray painted Darigold Twin Pops, my unique code words for the one and only crystal meth. The journal entry continued. Today, both Anita Shapiro and I had the day off from Great Anticipation's video dating service, so we loaded up the ice cream hand truck in order to make the rounds of the Montclair Plaza Mall parking lot. As it turned out, a lot of book readers who shopped at the Barnes & Noble booksellers store approached us for product that we sold by the quarter gram for $20, a very good deal. My philosophy buddy Gilbert Sherry and Pete Coachella's apartment manager of Poor Hygiene, Phil Mulligan, made the trip to our mall in order to stock up on the shit, but actually preferred heroin. Said Gilbert Sherry, quote, "I've been strung out all night long. I've been waiting for the taste you said you'd bring to me." That's a quote from Steely Dan's Katie Lied album, said he. Phil Mulligan came forward. "Boy, do me and Gil need some taste of horse so as we can chase the dragon tonight." "Sorry," I said, "but Anita and I are strictly dope dealers. You goons need to get in touch with Brock Hardesty out in Rialto if you want to smoke some or shoot some smack." Yeah, said Gilbert Cherry, lighting up a black Jorum cigarette, half and half clove. We've been out to a ranch-style house a couple, 3 times, so we know where to find him. Phil Mulligan offered me a bottle of Heineken. I don't even know, but he immediately popped the top off the beer and flicked the bottle cap across the parking lot like a teenager. Said Gilbert, gesturing dismissively, "You're making a spectacle of yourself, you idiot." Anita Shapiro and I called it quits around 8:30 and counted up our proceeds. We had made $600 and still had over 1,700 jackets of meth left to sell. "See you tomorrow at work, Anita," I had said on parting. "You can look forward to a nice day in our air-conditioned office environment in great anticipations. Don't you want to get high with me, Roger?" I drove Anita Shapiro home. It only took a few minutes, and it was there that she had rat-holed her trifulcrum metric scale by Bosch and Loam. On her Iowa boombox with its 9 ancillary equalizer levers, we listened to a lot of Bob Dylan's music, especially Blood on the Tracks and its hit single Tangled Up in Blue, which I loved. We smoked some meth together and kicked back, grooving to the music all night. "I feel terrific," I told Anita Shapiro worshipfully. "I love you, Roger." "Why don't you play this CD?" I suggested, fingering Lou Reed's seminal 1977 classic Street Hassle album, with its rousing Bruce Springsteen cameo at the end of the title track, where he says, "When a pretty kiss, a pretty face can have its way, then it's tramps like us we were born to pay." Unquote. I thought long and hard next morning about how drug-related activities in general could be connected to William Dean Howells's economy of pain principle, or Jeremy Bentham's expediency axiom. First, I was a habitual pot smoker and enjoyed the inculcated euphoria that strains of Sensi and Chronic offered. It was very easy to come by, i.e. expedient, and moreover was less costly than dope. Anita Shapiro and I went on to sell crystal meth to anyone who could prove by way of California ID that they were at least 18 years old, and we weren't doing this for our health. This was a business, and it was our desire not to rip anyone off or endanger anyone under 18. So, we weren't philanthropists, we weren't giving things away, and we weren't hurting anyone. We thought we may have been hurting ourselves. At that point, we didn't care. As Eli from my 12-step program, Emotional Health Anonymous, always contended, we are all committing suicide, Roger, one way or another. It dawned on me as the weeks went by that we were more than just Pimp and his escort. We were slinging speed. See the Jack of Speed by Steely Dan, by the way. It's a good song. And we were what I'd later categorize as neo-nihilists. We didn't believe in any authorities, and we did believe in self-medication. Ivan Turgenev, the Russian writer, wrote about nihilism in his 19th century novel Fathers and Sons, which I had read carefully, noticing that adult male-female relationships, especially including intimacy, were absolutely fraught with mind-altering complications that made drug use itself look safe by comparison. Instead of becoming Anita Shapiro's boyfriend, I was her co-conspirator and erstwhile pimp. We existed, therefore, and we were real. It was ironic then that I worked as a sales rep for Great Anticipation's video dating service, a company tailored for single people looking for love. What a crock. In point of fact, Victor Bathhouse was guilty of selling $10,000 platinum memberships to mental retards, schizophrenics, mongoloids, and other sports. Patently, this shouldn't be done. Not to mention the fraudulent $1,400 worldwide upgrades that connect you with anyone in the world. All I knew was that our softcore enterprise, consisting of my 6 lovelies and the erotic performance piece, which really was just so much frou-frou, was not sustaining us, for Anita Shapiro would go on to Sling Speed full-time and quit the telemarketing room at GA, and just about every man I solicited for utilizing my 5 remaining gals repudiated the value of just hand-holding and dancing. Therefore, I decided to ratchet up to another level of adult entertainment, reinventing myself as Roger Polstein, the hardcore pimp. Yeah, lip service, I guess. I would retool the erotic performance piece I thought so that whatever John we entertained would become that much more enamored of these foxy escorts who, if given an incentive, could offer more skin contact as would a topless or bikini bar dancer might. And to this end, I would read Brock Hardisty's germane short story, Bikini Bar Nights, that was read by a man named Paul Vincent of Print Masters Print Shop in Bixby Knolls, Long Beach, California, who gave it a B+. Hi, Paul. Haven't seen him in years, but I will read his Brock Hardisty's journal entry. New chapter. Brock Hardisty's journal entry. And I will continue in a moment. And now continuing with book 3 of How Joseph Presents, the Roger Polstein series, The Softcore Pimp. There has not been any Blue Oyster Cult references at this point, but for those readers who have read The Bells of Beechwood and Other Sordid Tales by Manolo T. Morales, this is the unexplicated, unabridged extension, the lost pages that were recreated and saved, found. For those of you who want to, like How Joseph Presents, and want to hear more of my literature, stay tuned. There's another 58 pages, double spaced, all typed up, that I'm going to continue in just a minute. And that's where we're going to have to end. We'll be continuing with the Junior Executive next time with the conclusion. I'm sorry about that.